be here. It is day 2 of our 4-day free mini course to kiss your struggles goodbye and create a life you love. If you have not watched day 1, you're going to want to go and pop on and watch it there. My goal is to keep my glasses off, but we'll see because I have notes and I want to be able to see you guys. You guys are over here. Let me see if I can just make sure that I am here with you guys. I'm not seeing us live. Does anybody see me live yet? Going once, going twice. Does anybody see me live? Oh, yes, here I am. So here I am. I see myself. And hold on, I'm just gonna copy post URL. Somebody is having a difficulty here. And so here's what happens. Today is day 2. Oh, that was loud. Was that loud on your end? Today is day 2. And let me see. I hope you got that. All right. So day 2 to kiss your struggles goodbye. Thanks for your few minutes of here. I always like to make sure technology is working before I go into the whole training. That way I don't do the training for nobody. I want to do it for you, right? So welcome. I am trying something slightly new so I can see you guys today. Jean, I'm glad you're here. I'm not sure why it was difficult this morning to find me. I'm not sure what the challenge was, but I'm happy that you were here. And yeah, drop below what your takeaway, what was different for you throughout yesterday's day as you took some of those tools and started to implement them in your life. What was different for you? And if you didn't implement anything, what stopped you from implementing? Right? I talk about transformation equals knowledge plus action. So as much as I want to educate you, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to transform your life. I'm here to help you. I want to say, help you transform your life. You get to take the things that I'm sharing and put them into action. And when you have the knowledge plus your action, you create transformation. So what action did you take? And how did it impact your day yesterday? And for those of you that joined the pop-up group, congratulations for stepping out and showing up. And, it always pays to show up, right? So I'm happy that you guys did. I thought it was a great training last night. And yeah, I appreciate you. So today is the day that we're going to be talking about what are your emotions really telling you? Well, emotions are energy in motion. And your emotions can be fun and exciting and woohoo, yes, joyful, passionate, excited, right? Or if you were like me and many of my other clients, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to feel. I got to acknowledge my emotions. I got to put my emotions into a sense, like I actually have to feel them and sense them. And so I know it can be scary, but I promise you this. Hold on 1 second. There is something loud on my computer. Apologies for that. There we go. But I can tell you this, that getting in touch with your emotions, is a super powerful way. It's actually the only way to live, right? You are your creator within you, right? Like you get to create your experiences here, and your emotions are your driving factor. So until you can really embrace your emotions and honor each part of your emotion and release the emotions that aren't serving you, you'll be stuck in a loop of whatever you're in right now. Good morning. Hello. Drop below. Let me read. I was told, oh, good, Kat. You spoke up for yourself. That's awesome. So continue to drop in the chat what really worked for you yesterday. And so I want to say this. Yesterday was an amazing start. I can't tell you how many texts, messages, Facebook messages, posts, outreach, engagement that I'm seeing, and that only shows me that you are here. You are here. You're showing up. You are engaging, and you are putting yourself in this space of growth. So really be excited. The conversations, the takeaways, the commitment, the energy of you guys are just amazing. So today is going to be a breakthrough day. Oh, and before I talk about that, I spoke about a prize yesterday, and then I forgot to talk about the prize. So I will be bringing the prize back today, and we will take care. We'll make sure we honor our words around the prizes for you. Okay, so that will be coming in a separate post, just so I can get yesterday's stuff looked through and today's, and we'll make a post on the prize winners for that. So today's going to be a breakthrough day for you. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you're actually going to take an experience and something that's been blocking you and holding you back, and actually break through it so that you can be on the other side, right? So I'm going, this is a stay to the end session today. Like, you do not want to be part of this session and walk out in the middle of it, because you'll be in the middle of a process and you don't want to walk out in the middle of the process. So it's so important to watch this live from start to finish. And you know what? You've signed up. You're here. Make this your priority. Make you your priority, right? So often people sign up and do things and then don't follow through. And that tells the universe and your subconscious that you aren't serious, that you don't want things to happen, right? So stay connected. I mean, stay committed to yourself through this process. Even if you're going to get uncomfortable, because there might be an uncomfortable piece through this today, even in the uncomfortableness, and I know I make that word up, but even in the feeling of being uncomfortable, stay through it, move through it, right? Remember, the fastest way to healing is to reconnect with yourself, with your heart, with your soul. And this is an opportunity for you to put yourself first today. Heal without talking about your problems. This isn't going to be like a therapy session. Heal without having to relive past experiences, but to really heal through some simple yet very powerful processes that will begin to reconnect you with who you are, right? So that's what this today is about. Who's excited to really dive in this today? Let me see. Can I see comments? Yeah, I can't read them because I don't have my glasses on. So as a I remember that one of my clients, and I didn't get permission to share names, so unfortunately I'm going to just keep their names private today. A client in my 12-month program, she was so good at hiding her true emotions, and that she was so nervous about expressing herself. Like, she didn't know, she couldn't express herself. She couldn't like, she didn't know her feelings. She didn't know what was going on. And so she had this like anxiety, nervous feeling all the time, right? Can you relate to that? Where you're just like, you're just maybe a little bit on edge, and you want to say something or you want to do something, but you don't know what all these emotions are. So you don't know how to process. And so that can come across in a couple different ways. That can come across of being a poor communicator. That can come across of being, what's the word? I want to say standoffish, but there's another, like almost like a wall up, defensive, right? That can come across defensive. That can come across of like nobody cares. Like there that you don't care about other people. And so when you have emotions that are pent up inside of you, you don't know which end is up, really. So it means your emotions begin to explode. So what I shared with my client was the work that we do together is about identifying who you are, or identifying where you were. So this person was really nervous about having to like relive old stories and talk about her feelings. And here's one of the most powerful things that, when we do work together, I don't necessarily need to know what your story is. We don't necessarily need to go into the whole story. And if there's any of my clients watching, and they'll even tell you that I'll stop you in the middle of a story, because the stories, telling the stories and talking about the stories only feed the stories, only give the stories energy. And so we don't do that. What we do, what I do with my clients and who I'm speaking about is we talk about where you are, what's going on, what are you feeling, what are your thoughts, what's your body telling you in this moment around certain things, and where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? Right? Where do you want me to take you? So you don't have to relive the past, but you simply have to choose to commit to the process. And so that's what I'm asking you today, to commit to this process. And it will help release emotions that you've been holding on to for a while now, right? So recommit right now. Recommit to playing full out, to showing up for yourself and being here. Write down committed, 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 committed. Because you know what? The truth is, if you're not going to play full out, then you're not going to get the results that you want. And to be honest, I want you to have results. I want you to have change in your life. Every part of my body, every part of my soul wants that for you, and I can only run the exercise. You get to commit to doing them. I can only bring you through a process, but you get to commit to the process. I'm not saying that there'll never be resistance that shows up, but what I am saying is, if you aren't going to show up fully committed, then the work won't work. And so you get to commit. You get to show up. You get to be here, right? So as you know or may not know, I'm Brenda Kiss. I'm a transformative Neuro Reiki master, helping you release your past, your blocks, the feeling of needing to do more to be worthy, the need to learn more, be more, do more before before you have the sense of worthiness, so that you can kiss your struggles goodbye. I use and create a life you love. I use my KISS method, which brings the power of neuroscience, energy healing, spirituality, and embodiment together to help you create lifelong change. I'm not in the business for short-term change. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to inspire you. I'm here to get your inspiration, your heart, your soul talking, so that you take inspired action. And, we did a whole talk about willpower, motivation versus inspired action last night. And, when we have inspired action, anything and all things are possible. So I'm here. I'm here, and that was my battery on my computer. Why is that doing that? So I'm here to help you take inspired action so that you can create a life that you love right now, and reconnect you with your heart, your soul, and so that you can live in happiness and joy. So I like to start today with honoring your classmates, honoring the women, your sisters, the people that are here with you, that are showing up. So simply just recognize somebody, say hello to somebody, let everybody be seen, be heard, say hi, comment on something that they've commented on, or share something that they shared that touched you or you can relate to. So often we put ourselves on an island, and I know that there's so many island girls here. You guys told me that yesterday. An island girl is somebody that's doing it herself, doesn't think she needs help, just continues to do it all on her own, right? So stop being an island girl, come into the be a KISS sister, be here to support each other, lift each other up, and be here to create lifelong transformation, right? So acknowledge somebody. And if you don't have somebody to acknowledge, just share something positive about yourself, about this experience so far, about the things that you are doing differently to get different results, right? So go ahead, let's hear you. Drop some in. Oh, I love it. Yes, yes. Say hi to the people here. This is an opportunity for you to build a community, to really connect and really work, be there to support each other, not to support the stories that you are currently living, but to support the stories where you want to go. So you're not here to complain about all the trauma and drama in your life. You're here to share, well, this is what I feel, and I'm moving in this direction. We're a solution-based organization. We're a solution-based sisterhood. And if someone is in their crap, we call you out. There's no crap. You're not allowed to stay in your crap. You're going to be moving forward. So today we're diving deep into your emotions. And yes, it can be uncomfortable. And yes, there might be a bit of resistance. So drop up. Let's just, one of the best ways to move through uncomfortableness, and I love that word, and I'm pretty sure I made it up, but um, uncomfortableness and resistance is to remember why you're here. So if you watch the welcome videos, not leading up to yesterday's video, I asked you to identify why are you here? What made you sign up? So yeah, drop in what's making you show up here. You're here, you're committed, you're sharing. Drop it in. I love all the connections. That's awesome. It's important to remember your why. Sometimes life can be challenging, and sometimes things don't go the way you plan. And sometimes you feel things that you haven't felt in a while, and you're like, holy crap, I don't want to feel that. Let me just go back over to here. But it's when you remember your why, you remember why you're here, what you're doing here, is that then you get to move through the uncomfortableness, the resistance, because your why is important. So needing to do better in my life. Yeah. And by where you're at, looking, needing to do better in your life is going through uncomfortable and some bit of a resistance. Is that going to stop you knowing that you want to do better in your life? Right? Your why is the reason you're going to do this work. Your why is the reason you want to do, the reason I do what I do is not just for me. It's my mission to help women turn their struggles into miracles, raising universal consciousness one person at a time. That's my business mission. My personal mission is to live my best life and to show my children that you can be, do, and have anything that you want in your life. And to me, they go hand in hand. They work together. So why is your why? Why are you here? You're feeling stuck. To find my strength again. You want to improve. Awesome. Awesome. So remember, on the other side of uncomfortableness is freedom. Freedom from hurt, freedom from your past, freedom from anxiety, freedom from lack of self-love, freedom from lack of confidence, freedom from poor relationships, right? All of that. So drop below if you think getting uncomfortable for a few minutes is worth it for you. If it's worth it, drop down worth it. If being uncomfortable for a few minutes is worth it to you to get to the other side, to get to feeling confident, to feeling love, to have a love for yourself, to have a love for others, to have amazing, passionate and exciting relationships, to free yourself from the past. So drop down worth it, worth it. Yes. Yes. So as we go through this exercise, realize that it is just a moment of uncomfortableness. And that's worth it to have the freedom. To have the freedom. So there's an 8-second delay. So I'm seeing all the worth that's come in right now. So that's awesome. So here's what you get to do. And I'm so serious about this. I'm so serious about this. As you're saying worth it, I want you to declare that, yes, I am committed. Like, actually drop that down, say it out loud. I am committed. I am committed to diving in. I'm committed to giving myself this time to go through this process. I'm committed to allowing myself to be fully here, fully present. Yes, I'm going to go through this now, regardless. I am committed. Drop down if you're committed, because here's what happens if you're not. Here's what happens if you're not. You're going to go to the next program. You're going to go to the next free offer. You're going to go to the next self-help book. You're going to go to the next thing you get to learn, right? You get stuck in this cycle of learning. Or, oh, I didn't like what she did. Let me go over here. Oh, I didn't like what she did. I didn't feel good there. You're going to go over here. I promise you this, that if you commit, you will have results. If you commit, you will change. You will begin to change, right? But what happens is so many times is people say, yes, I'm committed. I'm committed. I'm committed. And then it's time to do the work. And they're like, that seems hard. I don't have the time all of a sudden. I don't know if I have the funds. But I can tell you every single girl that I work with, they didn't have time, they didn't have the funds, they didn't have this. And if you wait for that stuff to be perfectly aligned for you, you're going to wait in your entire life. Nothing's going to work out perfectly in the way that you want. I can tell you to commit to yourself and stop seeking knowledge. Stop seeking like, oh, okay, if I just take this, I'll take this free course over here, I'll take this free course over there, and I'll do this over there. Or you read a self-help book and you get started, and then you stop because you got one tool and you think you're going to do it, and you go back into that motivating energy. Right? So I want something different for you. I want you to commit to really processing some emotions today. Emotions are your driving factor. They are the things that drive you. They're the driving force behind your actions. So the second key to create a life you love is understanding and releasing your emotions. Right? Emotions is the energy, is your attraction factor. Everything in the world is energy. What you're feeling in your subconscious is what you're attracting. Your beliefs, your feelings, your stories are your attracting factor. And I shared last night, and I'll share here because this is so important for you to know, that your actions, your beliefs, your choices all come down from 95% of your subconscious. So if your subconscious mind is telling you you're not worth it, I don't care how many positive affirmations you say, you're going to get stuck. It's going to lose. It's like the New Year's Day diet, right? Like everybody goes not everybody, but a good portion of the world goes on a diet on New Year's, or the second day, or June 2nd, not June, July 2nd. January 2nd, right? And so in that sense, they're working in their conscious, they're wanting, they're willing, they're pushing their way through, but in their subconscious mind, there's a belief, there's a story that's holding on to the weight. So every single time your subconscious mind will win. So it's really about getting past the surface levels of emotions, getting past of the surface feelings, and really diving in deep into the layers of your feelings and your emotions and your thoughts, because that's what's in the subconscious. That's what you get to move through. So here's the tricky parts. Emotions that don't feel good and stories and beliefs that cause you to have emotions that don't feel good, they get buried by the ego. The ego does not want you to feel hurt or sad or any type of feeling that doesn't feel good, any type of emotion. And I don't mean ego. When I say ego, I don't mean egotistical. I mean the ego part of you that protects you. The ego that tells you to move when there's a moving car and when there's a car coming, or to eat when you're hungry. You need your ego to survive. We don't want to get rid of our ego. We would not be able to live. Our ego keeps our physical body alive, but we don't want the ego to be making our choices. And that's the ego and fear are the same in my mind. So we don't want fear to be making your choices. So the ego, like I said yesterday, keeps you contained in a little tiny box because it doesn't want you to feel, right? It doesn't want you to feel pain or suffering or hurt. So it will literally cover things up. And without mentioning any names, I have a client that has been working with me for 2 years, almost 2 years. And through doing these layers of work, she just realized that there's a whole story of her life that she didn't even know was in there that was impacting her choices. So there's layers upon layers. There's to the subconscious. And the ego will literally cover things up, bury feelings, bury emotions, bury beliefs and stories, so that it keeps you in your safe zone. And I'll give you an example of this. In your safe zone, it will keep you in your safe zone, even if you're uncomfortable in your safe zone, because that is known, and the fear of the unknown, or the pain of what could possibly be buried within your subconscious, the ego thinks it's more painful, so it keeps it there. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by this. When I was years ago, I was very uncomfortable in my body. I was, I think I shared yesterday, I had an eating disorder. And I battled body dysmorphia for a long, long time. And that still comes up occasionally for me. It's one of my ways to know to check in with my mindset when I'm stuck on my body. But what I'm sharing is, being what I perceived overweight in my body and living uncomfortable was more comfortable than diving into the experiences and trauma that I had as a child. It was easier to stay here than to process being sexually molested or to process being date raped in my late teens. It was easier to stay uncomfortable in my body than to feel these emotions over here, right? To feel these emotions. And so you get to feel your emotions. You get to feel this uncomfortableness for a short time so that you can get out of this safe zone and break free into freedom. Into freedom. So what emotions do you live in daily? I mean, do you live in a victim story? I lived in frustration, overwhelmed, stress, and anger. I had four that I frequent very often, right? Those were my four. What are your four? Like, what four are you? What four or three emotions do you really live in? The more you engage, the more you participate, the universe will be here supporting you. And so I know that this part can be vulnerable, this part of sharing who you are. And, it's no fun to live in those feelings, but recognizing it, right? Honoring and recognizing what emotions that you live in and actually actually acknowledging them starts to relinquish their power. Oh, you have the same as me? Had the same as me, Lisa? I would not say that they are my same now. I live in joy, peace, happiness, fun. Where are we at? Anger, fear, guilt, fear, unworthy, shame. Yeah. And so if those are what you're living in, that's what you keep attracting into your life, right? So we want to look at these emotions, and I want to I want to share with you that there's a chance for you to look deeper. The initial emotions usually aren't the true problem or the true emotion. The ego hides those emotions and feelings that really need to be worked on. So we're going to jump in today and we're really going to work on the emotion that is underneath. So I'll give you an example. So, I told you I was always getting mad, frustrated, angry over my weight. Well, I didn't tell you what it was over, but it was over my weight. It doesn't matter. I was a size 2 and 123 pounds, and I was still angry and mad over my weight. It was either, I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be in my physical body, and then I was angry and mad that I had to live a certain box with certain foods and a certain exercise in order to be happy, to lose the weight. So, um, it was just a part of me that was there, right? I was always mad. So these feelings were the surface of the story. So these feelings were surface emotions from the deeper story. So you must get present. You must get present. You must ask questions, and you must dig in deeper to get to the true feelings. Anger is usually a cover up for other feelings like sadness, hurt, guilt, resentment, shame. And it wasn't until I dug deeper into my subconscious that I was able to find the hidden emotion or the feeling that was running my life. So there was a story that I created when I was a little girl. And then I gave that story meaning. And then that story became my reality. So a story that I created from an experience was that it was scary to be pretty and thin. That was my underlining story. So the underlining emotion was scared. There was a fear around it, right? So I had a story that I created that men hurt you if you're skinny or pretty or girly or flirtatious. So I developed a fear of getting hurt by men if I was skinny and pretty and flirtatious. So the ego said, okay, let's just put that over here and we'll start to protect you from and put on some weight. And your thoughts and emotions, your thoughts create your emotions create your stories, and your stories create your reality, right? So my deep seated all the way down was that there was a fear of being skinny. And so then I had all of this stuff that was buried, that was on top of it, and it showed up as anger and resentment and hurt. So when you don't express your emotions, they get stacked. I mean, they literally get stacked up in you when they don't get expressed out. So when you don't share who you are, I think somebody said that she shared, I didn't catch the name, but when she shared with her ex, and part of the sharing is sharing authentically, and the other part is sharing authentically from your heart. So we want to share from our heart, not from anger. And when we share from anger or from resentment, it comes across in a completely different energy versus when we share from our heart and express. But that's a whole nother topic. But when we have our emotions and we don't process them, they get stacked up in our body. They literally start stacking up and stacking up and stacking up and stacking up. It's called energy stacking. And they literally take up resonancy and space within you. Residency, they take up energy, they take up space in your brain, they take up space in your physical body, and they actually might make you take up more space physically, right? So if you look at road rage, I think this is just such an easy and simple way. No one gets that mad at someone for cutting you off, or not going at a red light as soon as it turns green. It's because you have so many emotions stacked up in you that you immediately have a quick response. It's like the 1 degree, like that 1 degree that just goes from simmer to boil, right? It's just the last piece of the last energy straw that you can take, and all of a sudden there's an explosion. And that happens. I mean, there's only so much that we can take if we do not process and move through our emotions. So through my fear to freedom transformation program, we really dive into emotions and releasing the past to help you find yourself and to start loving your life today. So as we focus on your emotions today, we already dropped them below. If you haven't, let me know. So here's what happens. When you have these emotions, you've created a ritual, a habit, or a coping mechanism or pattern to deal with these emotions, right? So some might have, some might deal with it by yelling or crying or hiding or eating or drinking or shopping or exercise or constantly dieting, putting your focus always on food, or hibernating or using TV or social media, or taking care of other people's, or some people actually get into the perpetual cycle of learning. Like, if I just learn this, then I'll know. If I just learn this, then I'll know. And they never take that next step to moving forward in their life, right? There's only so much knowledge we can take in. It's the action, it's the transformation piece that is needed, right? So, if I look at my pattern was food and other people's problems. Like, I literally would eat food all the time when I was feeling frustrated, angry, overwhelmed, or if I so instead of actually having to feel all of that or deal with anything that was going on in my life, I just put all of my energy into to actually just 1 or 2 people, because when I say all of my energy, it was always in there, into their problems, into their relationship problems, or into their financial problems, or whatever. And I would just dive all of my energy into somebody else's problem. And so it's important that you recognize these patterns. So what is your coping patterns? I see somebody said shut down. Lisa, those are good coping patterns. That was when you were a little girl, I see. Yeah, so what are your coping patterns? And here's the thing. Is that say Jane? Jane, you're completely full of emotions stacked right now. Yeah, shut down, close up, shut everybody out. Yeah. shopping. Okay. That's, to identify that, they really, really want to identify what your pattern is. Meditating, focusing on what I want, it's not working. So if I were to answer that, April, I feel like there's a deeper reason, and meditation can actually be used as an escape as well. So I'm going to give you an example. We have to learn to live in this reality and connect with a higher frequency, or whatever you want to say. But some people use, my neighbor actually used to use meditation as an escape, so he didn't have to actually live or feel or do anything in this reality, right? So same thing for exercise. Like, oh, everybody's like, Brenda, you're exercising, that's great. I was an exercise bulimic. Anybody know what that is? I didn't even know there was a term for that. And I would exercise 4 or 5 hours a day. Like, literally, I would eat something and go exercise, eat something, go exercise. And so even though some of these things are really great for us to do, we have to check in and see what's happening. And, I believe meditation is a great, amazing tool. I meditate every single day. And you need to dive into your deeper thoughts in order to get to the connection. We had to remove blocks and stories that are stored up in your body so that you can actually feel your guidance and connection. So hopefully that helps you for a moment, Lori. Not Lori. Who said that? April. April said that. So here's where we get to go. We're going to get to the uncomfortable part here. And, most people, and the reason that we do that I'm going to take you through this process is most people will do more to get out of pain than they will to move towards pleasure. So April, you just said that, you're meditating and focusing on what you want, which is one key. You want to live here and keep an eye on where you want to go. And that's always, for most people, that's not enough, because you actually have to do things to move you away from pain. And so we have to identify what are the things causing you to have the pain, and how is that impacting your life, and what do we do to release it so that we can move on, right? So we can't ignore the past and expect to be able to move forward. We have to work through the challenges of our past and the present, things that come up in our life every day. It's not just things from our past, but it's things that come up into our life every day. So most people will do more to get out of pain than they will to move towards pleasure. And it isn't till you become aware and tuned in, like we talked about yesterday, that you're able to make lasting change. So right now, take a moment, and I just want you to notice, just notice now how your coping habits are impacting your life. Specifically, how is your your emotions and or your coping habits or patterns impacting your family? Let yourself go here. Let yourself recognize this. How's it impacting your relationships? And if you don't think it is, allow yourself to realize where. Because your emotions impact every area of your life, whether you realize it or not. How you do anything is how you do everything. How is this impacting your finances? Are you spending more money than you need to? Or are you holding on to your money so tight because you don't know what to do with it? And it's creating a constricting energy where there's no growth or no expansion because you're so scared to move, to allow the energy to flow. If you want more money to come in, you can't hold on to it with two hands. There's no way to reach out to receive more. Right? If you want more money to come in, you got to actually put out and receive. It's like this is just a flow. And look at Carolyn, look at you. How does staying to yourself, how does that impact your relationships? How does it impact your relationship with family, with friends? And what opportunities do you miss out on? What things have you wanted to do but haven't because you just haven't because you don't have the energy or you don't have the time or you don't have the finances? When you say none, does that mean you have no relationships or it hasn't impacted you in none? It hasn't impacted you in any way. So I'm reading yours, Lisa. You don't think it impacts your family because they stay to themselves. They stay in their own self. Well, that's a learned behavior, right? They're mimicking you. Relationships are beautiful when you allow yourself to open up and allow yourself to connect. Just take a notice how it is opening up here and how safe and how connected you feel to the women that are going through this with you right now. Just by expressing and changing and being you. Imagine you could take that to your family and your friends and create friendships. And what will happen if you stay here and nothing changes? Will you live the life that you want? Will you have the career that you want? Would you be impacting the world the way you want to? Or would you be stuck, still feeling uncomfortable, still feeling regret and anxiety and living in your past hurts? Give yourself permission to be uncomfortable. I know this is uncomfortable. You get to decide today to say yes. You get to decide today to say, yes, I want to shift. You get to decide today if you want to shift or if you want to hold on to this heaviness. Totally up to you. Do you want to hold on to this heaviness or do you want to shift? Drop below. Shift or hold on to. And if you want to hold on to, that's great. Don't do the rest of this class because we're going to shift out of it. Here's what happens. You have to make new connections in the brain. You have developed a pattern of thinking that has created neuroplasticity in your brain pathways. And these plasticities over time get thicker and thicker. So if you think a thought and react away, this is what happens. So if I use my food story, I would think that I wasn't worthy, I would eat. I would think that I wasn't pretty enough, I would eat. I think I wasn't good enough, I would eat. I think when I was sad, I was eat. So I was creating this pattern of feeling a crappy way, putting in food, feeling a crappy way, putting in food. And so this was my pattern. And it was for years that I was doing this, right? And so what we're about to do is take these patterns, and you've been doing the same thing. You think certain thoughts and then you isolate. You think certain thoughts and you stay stuck. It's a pattern of thought, reaction, thought, reaction, thought, response, thought, reaction. And when you have that same pattern that beats over and over, at first it starts like this, just like a single pathway. And then when you repeat it, it gets thicker. And then when you repeat it, it gets thicker, and repeat it, it gets thicker. So over the years, you have made thick pathways. And here's what I'm telling you. And here's where most other methods fall short, is that you think it takes a long time to make a new thought pattern connect, and it doesn't. You're going to create one right here today. And it's the daily practices, the daily reconnections to this new thought pattern that are going to make it stronger and stronger and stronger, just like you did with your old thought patterns. So you will make a new one today if you choose to. If you choose to. So right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 10, how ready are you to get rid of this feeling, this thought, this belief? Yeah. Don't worry, Lisa. You don't have to want to. You will. You're here. You can just declare, I am creating new thought patterns. Our words are powerful. 10. Where are you? Drop them below. Are you somewhere between a 1 and a 10? 10, I'm ready. I'm all in. I'm ready to make the change right now. Or is it 1? 1, I'm just here and, I'm just listening and I'm still stuck in my crap. I love the 10s. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. And I want you to know, just by acknowledging where you are on the scale of 1 to 10, you've already put out to the universe that you're ready. You're ready to move in this direction. And now you get to stay open to what's possible. All in. All right, everybody, stand up. This is where you get to play out, full out. Stand up, stand up. Yes. Okay, here we go. Can you see me? I can't see what you're seeing. Hopefully you can see me. Let me do this real quick. Okay, yeah, you can see me. Okay, so stand up and just shake it out. Literally shake out those feelings. That's right. Shake it out. Woohoo! Let it go. Yes. Don't let me be the only one. I know I can't see you, so I can't hold you accountable. But I will tell you, when you allow yourself to stand up and do this, you'll have better results than you would if you stay seated and not participate. So here's what you get to do. You get to play full out here. You get to really allow yourself to do this. This is going to seem silly and it's going to be funny and you're going to think I'm crazy, but I promise you what we are about to do is take this neuroplasticity pathway that you've created and we're about to jumble it all up so that you can make a new pathway and start to build on that, right? So when you recognize we're going to create what's called a pattern interrupt. We're really going to interrupt your pattern or your habit here. So so you can use it when you recognize that you're in your coping habit, right? So this is something that's going to be unique to you. You get to create this. Trust yourself in creating this. If you don't have something, you can totally use mine. I'm totally okay with that. You can take any of my material and use it for yourself. That's good. But what I'm asking you to do is called a behavioral. We're going to call it's a pattern interrupt, and it's a funny move with a funny sound. So I'm going to give you an example. When I told you I lived in frustration, anger, and stress, right? And mad. Those all go together, right? And so every night at bedtime, I would give my kids all day, because I homeschooled them. I was being with them all day, giving them everything I got, right? And then bedtime would come and they would get like that second wind. It was called the witching hour. And they would be bouncing off the walls. They'd be I have 3 sons. They would be tackling each other, wrestling. And all I wanted them to be was in bed. And so I start yelling. And that's how my kids were going to sleep, with me yelling at them. And I'm like, that's a terrible bedtime ritual. That's horrible. And that's not who I am. And I don't want it to be that way. But I couldn't break the pattern because I had created that. Like they would get all wound up. And they wouldn't stop being wound up until I yelled, and then that would get their attention, and then they would change. So I created that pattern of yelling and response. And so I decided I wanted something different. So when they started to, so my coping pattern at the time was yelling, right? It was because I was angry. It was yelling at my children. And so when I wanted to yell, I decided to go, stop in the name of love. And they would look at me like you are probably right now. That woman's crazy, right? But what it did is it broke the pattern of that cycle. And they all brought their attention to me without me yelling. And they're like, what? And I'm like, all right, boys, it's time to get to bed. And they would go to bed. It was like, holy crap, this stuff really works, right? So what is going to be your pattern interrupt? It could be something like, whoa, whoa. It could be anything. It could be like flabberbooples. It could be a silly word. It could be a silly sound. I'm watching me on screen. That's hilarious. It could be elephant. I love elephants. They're here. Elephants remove obstacles. So it could be an elephant, right? You could just say elephant. You go, elephant. I had someone that was cursing all the time and she didn't want to say the F word anymore. And so she started using the word bananas. This is bananas, because it didn't have the same impact on her energetically. So I know this sounds super silly. And I know this may seem super uncomfortable, but be uncomfortable. You all agreed that being uncomfortable for moments of time is worth it to move out of the stagnation of where you're at. See, your brain is programmed to be thinking and feeling the way that you have been, and you've exercised those thoughts and those programmings and those habits for a very long time, and you created really thick pathways. So what I'm asking you to do to stop the brain pathways of your old habit and allow your or old behavior and begin to create a new pathway by interrupting it. So drop a Y down in the comments if you have yours, if you got your pattern. Drop a Y down, or your pattern interrupt. Did I freeze? Uh-oh. I'm still here. Still going. Not sure what's happening. Why? Okay, I'm frozen on my end. So you all have it? Yes. I see a couple yeses coming in. I'm hoping you have it because my screen is completely frozen. So I see some Y's coming in. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. In a moment, you're gonna think of a time in the past that you used your coping habit in a moment. And then I'm going to go through a series of questions with you so that you can really feel what the real emotion was. Okay? So here you go. Right now, recall a time in the past that you used your coping mechanism, whether it was hibernate, yell, money, shopping, learning, whatever it was. Just take a moment and recall that now. And as you recall it, just notice your physical response. And now do your funny pattern up. Stop in the name of love, right? And now ask yourself, what is it that I was really thinking, feeling? What was really going on in that moment? Answer. What was really going on in that moment? Keep answering. What was really going on in that moment? What was really going on in that moment? What was really going on in that moment? And whatever it is, drop it below. I see April said her own insecurities, rejection. I see you guys. This girl's on fire. I love that. Overwhelmed. Insecurity. Okay, so here's what you're going to do right now. You can just sit back down if you're still standing. And you're going to close your eyes. You're going to take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. As you take this last deep breath in, just think of what you just shared with me. What was really going on, insecurity, overwhelmed, whatever you said to me. And just think about that for a moment and just notice where you feel it in your body. Your body's always speaking to you. It's always telling you. You might notice it. You might sense it somewhere. You might feel it. And just become aware of this. Notice if it's in one location or multiple locations. Notice if it's heavy or light. If there's a temperature to it. If there's a color. If there's a shape. Notice if there is a shape, if it's smooth or jagged on the outside. Notice if there's any sounds. Now what you get to do is you've already decided that you were ready to release this earlier. And just realize if you don't release this, how much will this impact your life moving forward? Imagine carrying this heaviness for another decade, maybe even just 2 or 3 years or another month. So here's where you get to allow yourself to release it. And as you go through this process that might seem silly and how is this going to do it so quickly, realize that this process has helped hundreds of women that I've worked with release it in moments at a time, and you get to be one of those hundreds. So imagine right now you allow yourself to shrink all of this down. You can imagine it. You can get a special tool. Like maybe I think of a vacuum or a shrink wrap or a lasso. Or maybe it's a hammer and you break it up into small pieces and you vacuum it all out. You get to allow yourself right now to make it smaller in any way possible for you. See, you have all of the answers within you. The subconscious will pull out right now any thoughts, any stories, any tools, magic tools that will help you to release this in the moment. You've already committed. You've already allowed yourself to release it, and now it's just the process of doing it. So allowing it to get smaller and smaller and smaller, so small that it's the size of a grain of sand. You might barely be able to see it, but it's just so tiny. As a matter of fact, as I count down from 10 to 1, it gets so small that it is a grain of sand. You can barely sense it anymore. 10, getting smaller and smaller. 9, yes, letting it get smaller. 8, you got this. 7, allowing it to get smaller and smaller. 6, 5, 4, 3, and as we get to 1 in just a second, you'll know if you need to flick it out, blow it out, cough it out, throw it out into the universe, into the world, into the earth, wherever you need it to go. And as it does, it gets transmuted into love to serve the world. 2, 1. And as you let it go, just allow this beautiful healing light from the universe to come down through you, clearing out any residual, clearing out anything else and bringing in more of what you want. So identifying the characteristics, the qualities, the feelings that you want more of, and allow that energy to come down through you now. And as it comes down, just allow it to get stronger, more intense, amplifying it as it runs through your body. And as it runs through your body, just notice what feelings you get to live in now. What feelings that you get to live in right now. And allow this to intensify through you. Triple the intensity of this healing energy as it runs through you from the top of your head all the way down to your tiny toes. That's right. And as this runs through you, what are your 3 emotions that you get to live in? What's a new story you get to tell yourself? And as you have those stories, you can feel grateful, give gratitude for this experience, give gratitude for the release, give gratitude for what's coming, what's possible, and who you are right now. Coming back into this moment, opening up your eyes. And I would love to hear, who are you now? Like what are you feeling? Peace, joy, abundance. Woohoo. And derail you? I don't know what that means. Freedom. Thank you. Yes. Awesome. I love it. So that's where you get to stay. So your growth work is your homework today. Like put you other than where you want to be. Gotcha. Okay, so your growth work today is to notice when an old coping pattern is. And I want you to do your silly move. I want you to do your silly move. When you notice throughout the day, if you start to use your old coping pattern, remember you literally just created a new pathway. If you not noticed that, look at the new thoughts that you're creating. Look at peace, joy, harmony, worthiness, peace, love, confidence, contentment, love. You literally have made that pathway. So your job now is to feed that through positive self-talk, create some affirmations. And we're going to be talking about that tomorrow, the power of your self-talk. And your growth work is to notice if you start using an old coping pattern, right? And then interrupt it with your silly word or your silly move. So that's what you get to do. So I would love light. Yes. Feeling unchained. Yay, Jane. That's awesome. Well, you can go back, Lisa, and do the exercise. So here's what I'm asking for you right now is to commit to using your your new pattern interrupt. You will begin to change your life. I can tell you that this is such a powerful, but simple, right? Simple. You got to use it. And just notice the difference that you have. And I want to share share an opportunity. So if you're here now and you write the word prize in the chat, you will be given an opportunity to win a prize. And the prize is something that's near and dear to my heart. And actually I gave some people this prize last night who came up to the pop-up class, and it was funny because I asked the universe if I was meant to do another pop-up class today, and the answer was no. So that was a one and done deal for you ladies that came last night. So so here's what the prize is. The prize is I'm doing a 1-day retreat in October, and it's an all-day retreat. I think it's 11 to 4, or it might be 10 to 3 Eastern, something like that. And we're really going to dive in through the chakras and do deep work that, to continue this work here. And, it's valued at a $200 ticket. And I invite you to write prize down. And we're going to go back to yesterday. And my team and I will pick out some 2 lucky winners, one from yesterday and one from today. So that being said, there was an error in the masterclass email. So if you signed up for the masterclass is happening in Zoom. You want to make sure to register for that. It's for you if you're ready to dive deeper. It's for you if you want to take your healing to the next level. And it's for you if you're truly committed to changing your life right now. And so that masterclass is happening on Thursday, September 22nd. When you register and get your confirmation email, I don't know if it was fixed yet by my team, it was saying June. So I want you to know it's happening this Thursday, which is the 22nd, I believe. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I believe it's the 22nd. Today's the 20th, tomorrow. Yes. So make sure that you just realize that if you got an email that said June something, it was an error on our part, and the masterclass is going to be on Thursday. All right. I will do my best to get through all of your comments. And the other thing I want to share is there's an opportunity to receive a clarity call. A clarity call is just a way to get some openness. They ask you a few questions to get your mind open, to get you to see some things differently in your life. And it's an opportunity for you to just get a little added support if you have some questions that are going on here or whatever. So you can jump on a clarity call. You can get a call with Angelica. I'm not sure if they're still if she's filled up or not, but you can go to callwithangelica.com and book a clarity call. And there is another one if she is filled up. Let me grab you the other link because I didn't have it yesterday. Give me 1 second and I will grab it. You can also do a clarity call with our team member, Jean, who is amazing as well. I just have to grab her booking link. I think I shared yesterday. I couldn't remember it. She doesn't have a simple booking link. It is simple. I just don't remember it. Hold on. Should be called with Jean, but that would be the smart thing to do. But sometimes you just got to work through the process, right? And so here I am working through the process. Copied. All right, where is this at? Where are you guys? Here. Call with Jean. There you go. I put it in the chat. So until next time, everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.